But it's his ship now. He's the top dog. The big man. Numero uno honcho. The head cheese.
It's the Solar One Sci-Fi Podcast.
This is episode 156 of the Solar One Sci-Fi Podcast. I'm Michael Bourne. I am also known as Cocard on YouTube, a little channel with lots of people who like funny things, as well as our wonderful sci-fi podcast. I'm joined once again by the demigod of knowledge, the master and apprentice of everything science fiction based. He knows, as I said many times, he knows as much about science fiction as Mr. Kipling knows about cakes. It's Martin Fowler. Hello, Martin.
Thank you. Hello. How are you, my friend, this week?
Well, we're all back to work and school. The summer holidays ended, so I'm feeling mixed feelings. We had a good summer. We didn't have a very, we didn't sort of do a lot, but the weather in the UK, pretty much in August, was shite. And the weather has suddenly really improved as soon as we've gone back to work and school. So it's annoying, but you know, in the end, time is the fire in which we burn.
How was your holiday at Gorgiewick?
Oh, Cheddar Gorge.
Cheddar Gorge, that's it.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, that's right. No, I know. We only had a short stay, but it was nice. The weather wasn't good, but we went down some caves and we went up Jacob's Ladder and we did a few things and yeah, it was good. It was good. Yeah, you know, it's just like I said. It's annoying that the weather really was bad during the summer holiday in the UK, and then as soon as literally both ends. You know, the weather was gorgeous until the very day that we broke up. And the very weekend. It was nice on Sunday, and then everybody's like, I like September, but September's a weird time of the year, isn't it? Where, you know, at the moment it still feels summery, but it's you know, like I said, it's, you know, they've just had Labor Day in America, and I always think of, every year, I always watch Weekend at Bernie's, which is set around Labor Day and Labour Weekend. I don't know why. It's one of my favourite movies because it's such a weird film, but I just like it. And this year, even though I had a chance to watch that. But yeah, we're okay. You know, looking at the sci-fi news and you know the writer's strikes and everything's really, you know, it's really starting to sort of like get sort of influencing what's going on. Things are being delayed more and more. There's going to be a raw shortfall of entertainment, which is going to be really tough for us in the new year. So, you know, I'm really loving Ahsoka, though. I think that's great so far. I've seen the first 3 episodes of that. Are you still enjoying it, or have you gone off it? How are you finding it?
I'm not going to say names, but when I went to my friend's birthday on Saturday, I discussed Ahsoka with a friend. Not at all impressed with it.
Some people aren't. Actually, a lot of people do like it. A lot of people like it.
I said we had quite a discussion about it, and fair enough. I respect his opinion because I know I'll be watching this.
Okay, that's all right.
And he's not into it, and it did bring up. But I will say, it did bring up a couple of good points.
What's that?
And well, I don't know. I've watched a couple of reviews. I'm not going to name the reviewers. I go like all over the spectrum to look for people that don't like it and people that do like it. And I get where it's coming from, and that's it. But for me, it's about personal choice. I quite like it. I'm quite enjoying it.
Me too.
But what did you think to the scene when she jumped out of the spaceship and took out 3 starfighters?
I was reminded of Princess Leia coming out of the ship in The Last Jedi. I didn't mind it. Yeah, and I thought it was like, it was a bit kind of like...
You mean when Princess Leia were being Mary Poppins?
Yeah, and she floats back to the ship.
Yeah.
It was much better than that scene. I didn't mind it. I mean, I can see what... I mean, it's a bit weird with the gravity thing, because she didn't sort of... It was...
I get it with some people. One of the points he did make, and I have to wonder that I think he might be slightly right. And, well, the Sabine thing about how she's like the Force. It's like she's like the Force is in her or whatever. But the Force it doesn't work through everybody. It only works through Force sensitive.
I thought it was metachlorians that sort of focused the
Well,
Force.
I thought they got rid of metachlorians because they've never been mentioned since prequels, have they?
Yes, they have.
When did they mention
In the
metachlorians?
Mandalorian, baby,
did they?
yeah, Grogu had a high M count.
Oh, okay.
M count is metachlorians.
Right.
Yeah, in the blood. Yeah,
But
definitely
it's,
still involved.
yeah, but it's been no mention of Sabine Wren having midichlorians, has there?
Well, I mean, obviously, I've seen the animated series, but I haven't retained it perhaps as much as a lot of Star Wars
she's
fans.
a Mando, and she,
But I thought she didn't have any. I mean,
no, that's what I thought, and then suddenly it's like she's getting trained as a Jedi. I'm not making it. I think he made a very valid point about that, but obviously she will probably be Force sensitive, but she's got to activate it. But I thought, like, when you were Force sensitive, it started when you were a child.
maybe it might be a conflict because she's had Mandalorian training, which are completely opposed philosophies.
That is a good. Actually, that sounds like I quite like that because
That's the way I'm interpreting it.
I think that is a good way to.
That's the way, as we're talking about this. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, because I were thinking that Mandalorian discipline, and then it's because to access the Force, you've really
It's a
got to
whole
let your
different
mind-
vibe to being
your
a
mind's
Padawan.
got to wonder, hasn't it? And,
Yeah,
and
it's
all
a whole
that.
different philosophy, and the Force is based upon the Jedi and the Padawan philosophy of education and training,
Yeah.
whereas a Mandalorian is completely different. That's why you don't get Mandalorian Jedi, or hardly ever.
I mean, personally, I respect people's views. Some people don't like it. Some people do.
I like it. I think it's good.
Personally, for me, I like it. It's nice to see the mysticism back. And I think they're stepping out of the box by going to another galaxy as well.
I was very kindly invited to join Sci-Fanatics with Nick and a few others over the weekend, and Ellie as well from Who Culture, Trek Culture. We had a really good conversation, and it was funny. We brought up the fact that, first of all, like we've said, I mean, we don't know whether this other galaxy could be our Milky Way. And then they also laughed. They hadn't thought about the fact that I said that maybe the Force wouldn't work in another galaxy because it doesn't work in our galaxy, and not everybody's thought about that. You know, if we go to this other galaxy, they might have different physical elements which we've never seen in Star Wars before, and I think that's actually quite interesting.
They say that each galaxy has different laws. Apparently.
That's what. Well, I don't know about. Is that something in?
Well, a friend of mine told me he saw some. No, this is not me being quite realistic. That there could be galaxies. This is all theoretical. There could be a galaxy somewhere where time runs different to what it does here.
Like the one in Red Dwarf.
The laws of physics could be different in each galaxy. The scientists theorise this. If that's true, I don't know. But
I was watching a very interesting YouTube clip just this morning. Actually, it was about how they thought that the solar system would be like in 3.5 billion years. And apparently, at that time, planets like Uranus and Saturn and the moons around them will be in the habitable zone. So in the future, we could actually, if humanity survives, we could be colonizing the moons of Jupiter, which will be then in the habitable zone. So it's quite interesting. I don't know what I'm going on.
I think they'll be colonising that by 25th century.
Yeah, I mean, this is talking about 3.5 billion years' time.
You know, when you see films like Outland with Sean Connery, I think that's the future. I think like The Expanse, I think that's the area where...
But I think it's looking more likely it's going to get pushed further and further back. The only thing that might trigger an acceleration is something which you said before, is that we might have some huge technological leaps through the use of AI. Yeah. You said that to me for many years. Because it could be like the Industrial Revolution. It could be like a revolution of technology.
I think when they get to the moon, which they seem to be going all out for now, they're going to bring that element back. That, what is it, helium-3? That element's all over the moon. And with AI and the technology, I think there'll be a new power source.
Yeah.
And that'll be the thing that'll be able to propel you to Mars. Instead of years, it'll be done in weeks.
Yeah, well, I mean, I hope so. I mean, there's been so many science fiction writings of proposals of how we would get to the stars in the future, whether it's warp drive or ion or whatever. But I don't know. But anyway, I digress. Star Wars, yeah, Ahsoka, very good. I still prefer it to Andor, which, like I said, Andor is definitely better on the second watch. But it just this when I watch this, I feel like this is its own version, but it feels like Star Wars. Andor just didn't feel like Star Wars, even though it's well written, it's well acted. It just doesn't. It still doesn't quite feel right to me.
The only thing I liked about Andor was seeing life under Imperial rule.
Yeah, but if I'd skipped the first 3 episodes, because it got better as it went along. Yeah, I mean, like those workmen in that sort of like factory trying to build these components for the Death Star, and they're like prison. That was quite clever, actually. It's definitely better.
It was a nice twist, was all that.
Yeah,
it was because we kept seeing the same parts all the time. The machine how it was done,
and it's like
we all suspected is this the Death Star?
Yeah, we did think that.
We did think, and we said that. But it was interesting how the prison ran. It never ended. This same existence every day. Yeah, and it was quite interesting. I mean, there's parts of Andor I do like.
It's definitely better on rewatch. I'll put that.
I just can't do with him. I just don't.
Cyril, I know Cyril.
Not just Cyril Andor himself. The other fella, is it Stellan Skarsgård? Him who's like the rebel dude that owns the shop. I found him.
Oh yeah. He was in.
I found him. He's the one that's going to lead the Rebel Alliance.
He's a great actor. He was in Chernobyl, and Chernobyl's a great
I found
series.
he carried it for me.
Yeah.
You didn't need Andor, and they should have just made it.
Yeah, actually, Andor was a bit weak in the whole series. Actually, he was just sort of there.
I thought he was. Yeah.
Reminds me a bit of Jodie Whittaker in Doctor Who in earlier a bit.
But the other fella, if they'd have made it about him, I'd bringing it all together. It sort of made sense. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's going to be. I still think that season 2. I mean, like I said, I really want to know what's going to be happening with this writer's strike. I mean, when is it going to get resolved? Because this is just a stalemate.
Are they on strike here then?
No, but
it's
but it's made from. The writers are from over there. The writers and actors, a lot of them are American. So I don't know whether they can. I don't think they can still make Andor, even though it's filmed over here. That's a good question. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, we've got Doctor Who coming.
We have?
We have some faith. We have Doctor Who coming. You know they're going to fuck it up.
And everybody said to me, watch 12 Monkeys. Because it was made by, what's the guy, Terry Matalas. And they said that 12 Monkeys is a really good series. So I'm going to, when there's a Boyd next year, I'm going to be watching 12 Monkeys and seeing what that's like. And if it's good, I'll give you a shout. And then, hang on, freezing up again.
How's Foundation going?
All right, Foundation. Give it a second because my computer's freezing slightly. Can you hear me all right?
We've just had another time paradox. Yes, you froze in time.
I've stopped watching it. I watched about the first 3 or 4, and I've kind of just not got round to watching it. So I might wait until a few more, and then I'm going to just sort of binge it.
Can I ask why?
Just things going on. I just get
up. You didn't why you won't?
I don't know why, but
I thought you might.
No. I like it. No, it's because I know I need to watch it all in one go, or like over a few days. When you wait a week and everything, it's like
a super binge.
Yeah, I don't know why I do in this series, but I wait too long. I lost the thread of it. I got out the thread of doing it.
Yeah, I can't. If I watch that, I've got to watch it in like 2 days.
Yeah. So I'm going to wait until
an hour a week. It's just.
Yeah. I think they're up to about episode 7.
That's the problem with them series. It's like they're awesome when you binge watch them, like as a big epic. But when you're watching 1 hour a week, over the 7 days when you're doing other things, you start.
I just got out of the
You're just losing your connection. So
that's exactly what's happened. So it is good, but maybe it's a sign that I'm not loving it perhaps as much as other shows because I've lost the thread of it slightly. It might be a negative thing. But what we'll do is once it's all done, I know you want to check it out, and if we both have checked it out, which we will do, we'll give it a season review.
Yes,
which will
yes,
be
definitely.
later on this year if you're up for it, because I think
Yeah,
that'll be
yeah.
good.
I'm in no rush to watch it.
Um, Apart from that, there's nothing much else going on. I mean, like I said,
Well, I think The Boys is back. I
okay,
think I saw an advert for it on the bus,
okay.
so I assume that's back.
I've not seen that yet. Not seen that yet.
There's some new sci-fi thing on Netflix called Moon something. Everybody's raving about that.
Okay,
I don't know anything about it. I've seen it advertised on the bus,
okay.
so I don't know if it's worth checking out.
Yeah, that series that I watched on Apple was Hello Tomorrow. That's the one I think you should try. 'Cause it's a very strange
Right.
series. But I finally memorised the name now. It's this weird sort of retro 50s thing. Give it a watch if you get the chance. Just see what you think. It's not, like I said, it's quite a slow burn, and it's about sort of, it's like estate agents trying to sell fictitious
Land on the
properties,
moon.
land
Yeah.
on the moon. But it does have an appeal of it. It's something about it which is.
It's different.
It's just different. I can't really place it.
What I
I
mean.
don't dislike it, but I don't love it either. It's just
I think
it's there.
it's today. I mean, we get so many bloody remakes of everything that sometimes I think when you get something new come along, probably it's just hard work trying to get into it because we're so used to remakes of everything now. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know. I mean, it's all, like I said. There's not a lot of shows I'm really, I mean,
No, for something for me to become dedicated, there's got to be a big
I'll always check
something
out.
in there for
I'll
me.
always check
I'll
out.
check it out.
I'll always check out Doctor Who, even though I think that there's going to be a lot of things which should be different next year. But that's fine. I mean, I know we've been joking about it, but it's a huge show, and
Yeah.
it's got a very good writer behind it. So it might be better than perhaps I am. Star Trek.
There's no wrong with that.
Star Trek next year. I mean, it's just gonna be Discovery. And I said on the thing that I reckon it's going to be put back till probably. I reckon it won't be released until next summer. I don't think so.
Yeah, it's going to be a while.
Because there's nothing being made there. If they release it in February and it'll be done by the end of March or early April, that's it until the following year.
Well, they said the strikes could go through all next year.
Well, there doesn't seem to be any. Well, this is what I'm saying. I mean, if they said, right, okay, we've agreed something, we can start production in a couple of weeks or something, great, and then they might not put it back to be far.
You see, the thing is, with this strike, it now opens it up for independent film now, because a lot of the big film companies, if they're a TV company, these media companies, if they're not churning stuff out, they start looking at independent films to get into the cinemas or get online.
Yeah.
Because there's plenty of it, and out of all that, we might end up coming across something absolutely amazing.
Yeah, but you're good like that. You're the person who says, we should check this out. Because you've been talking about me checking out, what's the film again that we're going to be...
No Escape,
No Escape, we're
really
gonna check-
awesome.
all right.
Honestly, it's the top movie, you're going to love it.
And I also keep a film order, which I have seen, I've really liked, and you like it as well, in the future, Free Jack. I'm going to review that.
Oh, I love Free Jack.
I know you do. I mean, you never reviewed it, so I love that.
I love Free Jack. The
Yeah.
concept of that film, when I first saw that, it just amazed me.
And there's another film, I think it's something like No Time or something. It's a film about these people who you have like a clock on your hands, and it's like a financial thing, and it's like you can spend some of your clock time, and it's like your life force is like a finance, and I can't remember.
Yeah,
And it's a really really good film, but I can't remember what it's called.
Advertised. I think it was
Oh,
on
it's
Netflix.
really good.
I think there were a thing as well in that trailer I saw that you can earn money
You
to
earn
pay
money
for more life as well or
Yes,
something.
yeah, and then you can actually buy.
Brilliant concept.
And you'll love it if you've never seen it. If you've never seen it,
No,
but I
I've
can't
seen
remember
the trailer.
No.
I don't know what it's on Netflix. Is that?
Yeah, but I can't remember what it's called though. So if anybody on the
Very Logan's Run, isn't it?
yeah, it is like Logan's Run because of the
Have-
flashing
have-
hand.
Yeah. Have you seen a film called The Island with Ewan McGregor?
No. Is that another good one?
It's a weird one. Yeah, it's about. Well, it's everybody think that it's about these like people that work in this island and they think the world's like dead outside, but it's all a lie. I don't want to spoil it for you, but Ewan McGregor gets out.
Okay.
Yeah,
I love
no,
that sort of stuff.
It's like, and then
Yeah, that sounds like Logan's Run.
Yeah, well, he finds everything's just going on as normal outside. He started this thing. It's called The Island. Hugh McGregor, I forgot. Well, that was another one. It sort of it appeared and then vanished. Might worth checking out The Island.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Well, listen, we're going to go into our focus of the week now because the our Skylight Part 1 is finishing off. So we'll be back and we're going to review a very, very classic film for the early 80s, which is not particularly politically correct, shall we say, but it's definitely worth a review. So we'll be back in a second.
It's the
Solar Sci-Fi
focus of the week.
And so this week we are talking about a film. I think it's about 1983. It's a sequel, and it is known as the sequel, and it's actually based on a comedy film, which is actually a spoof of a disaster movie. The disaster movie in the original was, of course, the Airplane series of movies from the 1970s, which I actually quite like the Airplane movies, but you do look at them in a different light once you've seen. No, not the airplane. Airport movies. I'm talking about.
Yes, I like Concord 80.
Yeah, exactly. Concord 80, I remember as well. But like I said, the airport movies had about 4 or 5 of these series of disaster movies. But once Airplane first took on one of the actual specific films very specifically, then the airport movies became. I think it damaged a bit of their credibility. So Airplane also had its own sequel, which was Airplane 2. Technically, it's science fiction because it features a space shuttle which can go into space. It's dodging asteroids. It's heading towards the sun. It even goes into hyperwarp at one point as well. Yeah. So we can review it, even though technically it's... Well, no, you can have a comedy sci-fi. And of course, that was Airplane 2, the sequel, which was apparently it was titled as Flying High 2, the sequel, in Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, Japan, and the Philippines. And it is a 1982 American parody film written and directed by Ken Finkelman, and his directorial debut, I can never say that word, starring Robert Hayes, who was in the original, Juliet Haggerty, Lloyd Bridges, Chad Everett, William Shatner, Rip Thorne, and Sonny Bono. A sequel to the 1980 film Airplane. It was released in 1982, and it was done by Jim Abrahams, David Zucker, and Jerry Zucker, who I think they all went on to do some of the Police Squad stuff and the things like that. So, do you want the plot, or should we just go into what we thought about it?
Well, the plot's the same, isn't it? They all get on a ship, and emotional problems and affairs, and how somebody's carrying a secret bomb, and somebody's having it off with somebody over there, or somebody's got a dark secret, or there's a criminal
it's
on
better.
board.
Yeah, it's better than... I was going to read the plot here, and it's
That's
better.
the standard
of
the airport movies, though.
I wish this thing would pick up my iPad. Yeah, exactly. Well, obviously... all right, let's quickly say the plot, which is: in the near future, the moon has been colonized and supports a station on its surface. A lunar shuttle known as Mayflower 1 is being rushed to launch from Houston. The head of the ground crew, the Surge, does not like what is occurring, but he defers to the airline management. On the flight crew, Captain Blah, actually goes on to it, but basically, as you say, it's just having fun, or people stuck on a plane or on a spaceship in space, and just funny situations happening. So, when did you first see it? What did you think about it?
I remember I never saw Airplane at the cinema.
Okay.
I remember the first one, the trailer, where they had the fin of the plane like Jaws.
That was the opening.
It was the opening, yeah. I remember that, and that sort of stuck with me. I saw Airplane on VHS and the sequel on VHS.
Okay.
And first time I couldn't stop laughing. And I've seen it a couple of times. Normally I caught it on the TV Normally it were on BBC One, actually.
I seem to remember it being on the BBC
And
One.
it would always, last time I saw it on BBC, I come
At
in
10:30 at night or something. It was,
Yeah, 11 o'clock, coming pissed with a kebab.
Yeah,
It was on, what a great way
that's
to
a
finish
great
the
way
night.
to, that's a perfect way to finish
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
I
yeah.
agree entirely.
But I watched it recently. I watched it on Sunday. I've not seen it in years. I did find it funny, but you wouldn't get away with half of that.
You wouldn't get away with about 10 minutes of that in 2023. They made it now.
I thought watching it, I thought, bloody hell, yeah, it just won't pull it off. Do you know what I mean? You just won't. I mean, you had all the tropes in there, the characters. You know, I thought Striker and Mucho Grande and all this, and how we bottled it, and he were in the mental
And also,
asylum. When he got out,
he still had a drinking problem. He still had a drinking problem as well.
Yes.
I've got some water to splash myself then. I had a bit of water left in there.
What about her on Pledge going, well, I've never been with a man. They're all queuing up.
I hope you don't think I'm being forward, but I don't think we're going to make this. And I've never been with... And then in the end, she's talking to a horse.
Yeah. And then do it same where they were all slapping that woman. Do you know
yeah, because they did in the first one. And they did
yeah. You'd never get away with that tonight.
No, I know. And
you know, and then the stereotype of, I'm not even going to, but the stereotypes. I mean,
I like the feed the cats bit in the beginning with the two businessmen. That was quite funny. Yeah, it was. It's funny. A lot of people have reviewed it. Actually, a lot of people actually checked it out, and a lot of people still think it's funny.
I don't think it should be altered.
No. I mean, do you think that? Do you think in the future a lot of classic comedy or films which depict things in a more of a stereotypical traits? Do you think things will eventually be changed just to actually keep people these snowflakey, oversensitive twats out there from keep them happy or something? Or do you think?
I don't know. It's complicated, isn't it? It's complicated. It is very complicated, isn't it?
But it just makes you wonder.
I mean, it's like like the boys. Their approach. If you watch the boys, they don't go down that path. They're very in your face with upsetting stuff, but it is funny, and I think we laugh at stuff like that, and I think we should.
Well, I've been saying for many years that a lot of good humour comedy has gone, I look at a webpage called Dan of Geek, and they've been doing the top
Dan of Geek, Dan
of Geek, and I like them. They've recently just done one with the top 20 21st century comedies, and I think. Is it Pulp? What's it called? That one I can't think about. There's I can't think of it. Damn. I know there was quite a well-known one at number 1. The Office was at like number 3 or 4, and I still think The Office is the funniest British comedy in the 21st century. But it's strange with comedy because, as you say, for me at least, a lot of comedy to make it funny has to be a bit politically incorrect. That's the point. Now, how do you make comedy if you're not allowed to do that anymore?
Well, that's like comedians. Isn't it? I mean, it's you've got to either attack the establishment or attack certain things to get a sense of humour. I mean, you're not like being malevolent. You're taking an everyday situation and you're making it funny. You know, and I'm not going to get into politics.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be a bit careful. Yeah,
there could be a situation of the person or whatever, and they do something funny in front of you, and then if you're a comedian or a writer, you're going to do it. I mean, I bought Weird Science on 4K.
Oh, I've not seen that for a long time.
I've not seen that in 20
That's where
years.
they build the woman, isn't it? Out of
yeah.
Like and that was quite funny. Actually.
I watched it on Sunday.
What was it like? Is it good?
I fell off. I couldn't stop laughing.
Is this something we should review in the future?
Weird Science with Kevin LeBrock. But it's Bill Paxton as the brother.
Oh, that's right.
He's a total right winger.
You can't go wrong with Bill
No,
Paxton.
you can't, because
No,
you
he's
got
a
them
great
two
actor.
desperate little fuckers trying to get laid, right?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
And the stereotype. There's all kinds of things going on in this film, but I sat there for the 2 hours, and I were howling with laughter. I walked, and some of it, of course, there were stereotypes and all this, but it's a beautiful film. It's
It
of
is a
its
beautiful
time.
film. It's a beautiful
But
film.
when he stood there in front of his, like, he's got it. I mean, Bill Paxton's such a wanker in this film, right? And the other brother, the desperate one, he stood there in a pair of knickers, and then he's like takes him like a few to realise he's got knickers on. Do you know what? And it's just this situation. And her that plays Kelly LeBrock, she's hilarious. Because she puts them both embarrassing
She's got a British
situations.
accent, hasn't she? She's British, isn't
Yeah, she's
she?
English, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that. I've not seen it for a long time, so I'm trying to
No,
remember
it's
it.
worth. We should cover it. I think this would be a good one for Christmas. I really
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. Okay. Why not?
Because it had that vibe about it.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I watched it and I thought it was absolutely superb. But Bill Paxton made it for me. My greatest comedy movie is Animal House for me.
I love Animal House.
And if you
Oh,
want to get
God.
all fucking snowflakey about that film is a masterpiece
I
of
love
comedy.
it. Yeah, I love Animal House.
I watch it at least once a year, and the other one as well, though I watch it every Christmas, Trading Places.
We talked about that. How many times have we talked about that?
Numerous times, and they can
Yeah.
never these are films that can
That's
never
so
be
funny.
remade,
Yeah.
and they should never attempt to.
I quite like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation as well. That's
Yeah, I
pretty
love that, the Griswolds.
good. Yeah, I like that.
I mean, there's that scene when they go on holiday and they forget to put the dog in car and it's following them along with dog lead tied to the car. And when they get to destination, all that's left
It's
is
just a
things
rope.
and stuff.
Yeah, that's the first one. That's the Vacation. Yeah, I love those
Do
ones.
you know what I mean? But Aeroplane 2, when I watched it, it's all right. You see, the thing is with comedy, right? The thing is, not all of it. Some comedy ends up like Weird Science or there's things, Ghostbusters. That's
That's a
like
different
these
type of-
comedies,
that's a different kind
but
of-
they're
yeah, comedy.
timeless.
Yeah.
But when you watch, like, I found Aeroplane 2 quite dated.
Compared to like Ghostbusters, which we reviewed, which are made about the same time, they are both funny, but their humour's slightly different.
Yeah, I think it, like with the Ghostbusters humour, it's more about human reaction and sarcasm.
Yeah.
Where
This one, Airplane's more visual gags.
Yeah,
A lot of visual
yeah,
gags.
Yeah, and I
And
think
wordplay.
that's-
Wordplay as well.
Yeah, and it seems, and I think that's where it becomes dated. But
Do you think that makes it more dated, that sort of
Not
side?
all of it. There were moments of it. I found a lot of it funny, but I found some of it embarrassing. I know it's weird. It was like it was nothing new I hadn't seen before. But like with Ghostbusters, you've got Bill Murray looking at Egon,
Egan
and
Spengler,
he'll come
yeah.
out with this like classic one-liner, and you'll keep rewinding it all the time because it's that moment in time of him being sarcastic with this weird dude. Mm-hmm. And it works. I'm not knocking Aeroplane 2. I thought Shanto was hilarious in it,
Yeah.
but he was very predictable with his character. But what can you do? I mean, all they could do is repeat the first film, just change. the
Yeah,
script.
I mean, it was a lot of the original gags, Surely you can't be serious. I am serious. Stop
Yeah,
calling me
yeah.
Shirley. You know, that sort of stuff. It was a lot of repeats, I admit that. And it really was just, that rather than being on an airplane, it was actually on a space shuttle. And they had a few space science fiction-y
What?
things on there as well. I like the bit when they're dancing in space when they get sucked out,
yeah.
which was quite funny.
Yeah,
And the guy, that's a lot of...
card.
Yeah, who was in Galactica 1980.
Yeah, I thought, oh God, look at
Yeah.
Ken McCord, yeah.
No, Captain
But
McCall.
there's a lot of them in there. A lot of Chuck Connors. There's that like engineer back on Earth.
The guy from V's in it, the one that played Martin in V's in it.
Yeah, he's in the radio.
Yeah. He was a pilot in the first one though. He was actually.
Oh, was he? And then we got the legendary Peter Graves from Mission Impossible.
I know.
When
He was in the
started
first as
taking
well.
on the computer.
Leslie Nielsen wasn't in the second one, but he was in the first one.
Is this the same makers as Naked Gun then? Is this?
I think it's made by the same people.
I thought like so. Naked Gun is evolved from Aeroplane then.
Well, don't forget, Naked Gun also had the 6-part series Police Squad.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, I used
and
to
that
love
was
that.
it's only made 6 episodes, and
Not
it was
too sure.
very Quinn Martin. The opening where like the Invaders in color, starring Roy Finnis.
Yep.
And Police Squad did exactly the same thing with the Quinn Martin opening, the same as the streets of San Francisco. They had that same opening where you have a narrator and it's like tonight's episode, the deafening howl or something like, and it always had that.
Yeah. Do you know what I loved about Police Squad? Was the ending where there was one where they booked the villain. And they all
froze up,
and the villain's like moving around, but he
the
can't
monkey,
get out.
The one with the chimp,
They're in the doorway.
I loved it. Yeah, it was classic.
But
and
Aeroplane's God, I'd say something. I recognised all them consoles on that moon base.
Oh, some of them were in Rata Khan. I saw one or two.
And V,
the long
and
one,
V.
and I know, yeah.
And I like Shantner when he said, I don't know what
bleeping but what's all these point? What is the point of all this bleeping and flashing and what? Yes, it was funny.
A lot of it was predictable, but I enjoyed. I don't think I could go watch it again. I don't think I could.
No.
But no, I don't think I watched it. I enjoyed it because I've not seen it in about.
But you wouldn't see it again for like another 20 years or something.
Yeah, it'd be a long time. But it was enjoyable. But when I watched Weird Science, after I preferred that.
And the same with Ghostbusters. I mean, you could see like Ghostbusters more often than that, couldn't you?
I think it's that sarcasm, when they have that weird moment.
It's more sarcasm than visual and wordplay.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah, because I found I was getting not annoyed, but it was getting a bit like when they were all slapping her. It were all. I sat there and thought, well, this is, it's a bit predictable. And there were scenes like that. I mean, it was funny when she said, I'm a woman, I'm alone. And I get it, it might work. And then suddenly you got all the entire aeroplane going down there. Which it was funny, but it was too predictable. I like the game show host, Jeopardy. When that.
Oh, the love boat bit. The love boat.
But it was all right. It was all right. I mean, I'm thinking about giving it first one a look.
Oh, I don't know which is better. They're very similar. The first one has a very funny play on Saturday Night Fever, which is quite funny.
I remember that.
That was a really funny bit. That was good. And Leslie Nielsen is great as the Doctor in it. And of course, he went to.
The one thing they did get right in this, because I grew up, like you, I grew up on the airport movies. I went to cinema, parents, so I went to cinema to one. The one there
was about...
where the aeroplane's under the sea.
Oh, I can't remember that one.
It's one where
I know there's one with Concorde.
Jumbo jet, and they're all underwater.
Yeah.
And they're in an air bubble. And it's like you've got her that's in love with the hero, but he did something. But she's with this other fella. She don't love him, but she thinks she does, but he's a creep. And then you get all these stereotypes, like the hard ass at airport control who deals with it. I mean, Airplane did that beautifully. They got the stereotypes and really hammed them up. And I loved it for that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm not looking airport movies. I grew up on them, so...
Yeah.
And I did watch them, and I did go to the cinema to see one of them, so...
I wonder whether the people who made the airport movies were furious when the airplane movies came out, because it was such a piss take out of their own.
How many airport movies were there?
I think there's at least 4 or 5. I need to look them up.
Yeah, I mean, it went a bit too far.
There was definitely a few. There's definitely a few.
The big one was the jumbo jet, the 747.
Wasn't George Kennedy in it?
I think George Kennedy was the airport.
And he was also in The Naked Gun.
Yes, he was, yeah.
It's funny that he kind of also jumped on the bandwagon, because he must have thought, these people made the spoof of the airport movies with the airplane, and now they're writing this similar comedy with Leslie Nielsen, and he joined them, which I thought was quite an interesting kind of crossover.
Where I gave up with airport movies were Concorde 80, Airport 80, whatever.
So why? I can't remember that. What is it you didn't like about that?
Well, I don't. It was just like, I think we were like, we've used alt planes now. Let's use Concorde. And I remember one big scene where There's somebody on board the plane, and it's all about him. He's doing something, and these baddies want to destroy him. So they launch this like super missile, and it's chasing Concorde all over the place.
Oh, the Concourse is trying to keep away from it, or something.
Yeah, well, they can't let it land because of this guy's a witness or something. Yeah. But it's like a 10-minute scene of this missile chasing Concorde about. I thought that'd just blow it out.
And a very important bit of info here. A lot of the footage of the airport movies, the jumbo jets, were used in an episode of The Incredible Hulk.
God, yeah, I'm not even gonna say. I'm not.
You remember the bit when he's hanging off the plane with one hand, and they used the jumbo jet footage from the airport movies in the episode of The Incredible Hulk.
You know, I gave up with that clip you sent me.
Which one?
But after that clip, where he's in bed with that,
that's the best bloody Hulk out. How many times have I said that?
I gave up after that. That was the last time I'm even gonna look at it.
What?
I mean, I barely survived Daredevil and Thor in it. I mean, that was just. But that, when I couldn't stop laughing, but that program, no, I'm not going to say it, I'm not going to say it. Do you know what I mean? I dread someday that the entire series will appear in front of me and I don't want it.
You'll be like, maybe you can be like strapped to a chair with your eyes physically opened up with some device, like in Doctor Who, the TV movie, where his eyes open like this and he's like that, and you're like that, and it's the scene where he's turning into the Hulk with his pajamas on.
Oh, God, I mean, come on. When he's in that courthouse and he lifts Salt Jody up.
That was one of the TV movies afterwards.
Yeah. I mean, it's sort of like he'd end up somewhere, solving a problem, and then gets involved. Then he gets beat up and he says, look, don't do this to me. 10 minutes later, he's
I'm sorry.
I
know we're going off topic, but I still...
And then he runs off.
But you watched bloody She-Hulk. And there's nothing more to say about it. All right? I'm sorry. If you're going to look at my Bill
Fair enough. I love She-Hulk.
I thought it was shite.
Did you watch it all?
I watched 2 episodes and then just.
Oh, come on.
Switched
I
it off.
thought She-Hulk was very good. At least she didn't go around going.
She was just in court, like sending drug dealers to prison or something, and going green every time she coughs or something. It was shit. It was terrible. It was shit. I'm sorry. It's one of the biggest things we've disagreed in 5 years. I love my Bill Bixby Hulk. Hulk. I think that I don't mind the Hulk in the movies, but this TV spin-off with this.
I loved it as a kid. I loved it as a kid. I
even had Incredible Hulk wallpaper when I was growing up in my bedroom. I did. I loved it.
I've forgiven you.
Yeah.
I've forgiven you. It's all right. I understand.
Yeah, but I mean, you recommended She-Hulk. You recommended I watch that drivel, and I was like, and you like Batman versus Superman, and you know what I thought about that as well.
Well, I thought that was very good. I've given up on fucking rest of it. It got released afterwards. It's just gotten worse.
If it's worse than that,
I think we're coming into superhero fatigue now.
Yeah, I know. I've heard that. By the way, I know we're going off topic. We'll be back on the airplane in a minute, but we'll just quickly say, I think that there is a bit of fatigue with that.
Yeah, I do.
And I think that it's saturated the market. I think they made 26, 27 Marvel movies, and then they got the DC stuff.
I think there's 18. I think there's been 14 DC movies.
Yeah,
it's a lot of film and a lot of TV stuff.
No, it's funny. I like science fiction, but I'm not as big a superhero fan as you are. I like.
No. My favorite.
I don't know why.
Fiction.
Yeah. But superhero is science fiction.
I like it when you're on a starship going somewhere.
Yeah. Apart from the Discovery, when it spins around and goes.
I'm open. I've got a feeling final season could be good.
You think?
Yeah. No, I do. I've got hope.
Do you think Sarah's going to get laid? I don't know why I asked that one. I don't know.
I've heard. I know we're going off topic again.
Yeah, it's all right. Go on. It's okay. Go on.
They do. I think it's happening. The section.
That Michelle.
Michelle Yeoh. I think it's happening. Yeah.
I'm not bothered about that.
I hope it don't. I'm not that bothered.
Well, no, it's only going to be a TV movie, so it'll only be a one-off. So it's not like a full season.
She stepped through the portal, fucked off,
That's the end of it.
That were it. That were
Oh,
it.
we're not that bothered about her character. I got a bit
Gone.
fed up with her one-liners. I'm a mirror universe character, and I'm so clever, and I'm so special, and she just got really tiresome in Discovery. I actually would like to see more of our universe's character, because she got killed off.
All I want is to go into the 25th century. That's all I want.
Well, we have to.
Once I'm there,
I know.
I want Star Trek Legacy.
It will happen. It will have to happen. It's too good.
It's got to happen.
It's too good. Have that with Strange New Worlds, and I'm happy. And I don't mind the animated stuff. It's not quite what I'm into. I will watch it when I have to.
I've tried. I just can't get into it.
No, I've watched the end of season 3 of it, actually, Lower Decks. It was all right.
Okay.
There was an episode where they go to DS9, and we see Kira and Quark, and their voice actors are back. That was good. That was interesting.
Oh, interesting.
And we saw and of course we saw the promenade. We saw Quark's bar. That's an episode I recommend if you like crossovers.
Right. Okay. I'll take a look.
That's worth a watch, that one. And it was great hearing Kira again. She's still fighting with Quark, and I like that. That was good.
But Aeroplane 2, I enjoyed it as a one-off.
Yeah, and it's like I said. I think what we've discovered from this conversation today is that obviously humour is individualistic, and also what you said.
It dates as well.
And also what you said is that, like I said, the humour of this perhaps is dated than compared to the humour in, say, Ghostbusters or Trading Places or National Lampoon's Vacation.
But with them, it's that sarcasm, isn't it? It's that moment of that scene of Dan Aykroyd where he's outside that restaurant, absolutely off his head. His life is they've destroyed his life, and he gets the gun, tries blowing his brains out. Gun don't work, and the dog pisses on him.
And then he throws the gun and then it goes off.
It goes off.
Yeah.
That is timeless.
Oh yeah, that's just, and it's like
I just found that's like the next level up to her.
And my probably one of my all-time favourite comedies from the 80s and any era is This Is Spinal Tap with Michael McKean, Harry Shearer. It's just a film. I must have watched that film 40 times in my life, and I absolutely I laugh every time. And I do like a bit of Airplane too. Airplane 1 and 2, they're fun, but do you know what? They couldn't make any more. I mean, they did The Naked Gun, which was more of a detective thing than being on a plane.
I like Naked Gun. I do quite like it.
Naked Gun was only 6 episodes. I think it has a bit of a limitation in durability.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I think that's something
which we've talked about, which is it's only a small area that they can sort of do, and then it runs out of steam very quickly.
I think I will give them this though, quite genius. I mean, they could have just gone on another aeroplane and repeated it. I know they did, but then they thought,
well, they put the space concept in it. Let's go to the moon. And
I thought that is a stroke of genius. To be
I like that. I thought that was quite clever.
I mean, they would have all died when they got out of the shuttle. See when they're all.
Yeah, they actually came off the slide. There wasn't any. There was an atmosphere on the moon. It's like it was. It was a very, but it's great to watch when you're pissed.
I did like the stuff like where they were like complimenting other films, like when they were talking to Rock the computer.
Oh, 2001.
Hal would have seen him through his monitor, through his camera. I liked all that. There were these beautiful.
There were some nice links.
Like that made it worth it.
And we saw the Starship Enterprise very briefly as well.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
And that was amazing. I remember seeing that. I thought, oh my god! And they used the footage from the original series. It was the pre-remastered Enterprise. It looked great, by the way.
No, it did. It was good to see it. But Chandler was just being Chandler, wasn't he? That was it.
He was just having a laugh. He was just like he did sort of like phone in his performance. It was just sort of like
I like the thing where you thought he were on a monitor and then it would have door.
Yes,
moments.
That's
like
when
that,
it's introduced. You thought it was a view screen. You thought, and he's like,
and
he opens the door, and it's like, that was quite clever.
Yeah,
it was quite a clever film, and it was good. I think that's pretty much. So I suppose
really much to say about it.
No, I think we've had a good chat at it. I mean, if you haven't seen it, check it out from wherever you can find it. It's worth a watch. There's lots of reviews on the YouTube as well. I think I like Airplane 2 equally to Airplane 1.
I prefer Airplane 2. Yeah.
Oh, you prefer it? Okay. Well, you said you haven't seen Airplane 1 for a long time, though, have you?
I think when I watched it, I think I did prefer 2. Even when I got it on VHS.
I like them equally. I think they're both pretty much like part 2 of the same thing.
More space and that. It's more.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I can see where you're coming from, but yeah, that's fine. So I suppose let's ask you then, out of 10, what would you rate it?
I'm gonna give it a 7.
Okay, I'll give it 7.5. Similar. Yeah, it's definitely
Sticking with a 7.
yeah, similar thing. I mean, it's a good movie. Like I said, it had a limited. I mean, they could never make a long-term series of it, like they did with the Police Squad. Only 6 episodes, and then it worked better as a film. It's a film.
Yep.
It's just a short thing, but it's unique, and I'm glad that they made it. So, Martin, thank you very much. So we'll be reviewing this film next week, which you've told me about, which I can't remember the name of.
No Escape with Ray
No
Liotta.
Escape. All right, we'll have a look at that. Until then, have a good week, everybody, and we'll catch you next week on the Solo on
Live long
Sci-Fi.
and prosper, yes. Live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper.